some of the things we've been talking about this morning on what is a very nice, a very nice Tuesday. I'm seeing 17 degrees on my thing. Is that right? Or am I goofy?
You are correct. 17 degrees, daytime high 31.
Well, that's nice. So, of course, big game tonight. Leafs, Canadians, who plays in goal? I guess that's a big surprise. So this will be interesting as I'm going to turn this conversation from NHL playoffs and awareness to bladder control. Now, how would I do that? Well, how about this? You're going to be so nervous tonight in watching should Fred Anderson play in goal tonight that you might need a little backup to control your bladder, because I think that's a decision that you may not want to see. So how about that, Joan Sarro?
There we go.
Is that a segue somehow? Is that a thing?
It's actually a great segue because stress can bring on bladder issues. Definitely.
There you go.
So perfect.
So how have you been in lovely Calgary? Do we have some decent weather? I'm hoping, because it's Calgary, so you never know.
You never know. It's a little bit moody. It's been very rainy, but we've needed it. It's been dry. We got some snow last weekend, so that's an improvement.
Geez. Yeah.
It's quite beautiful here, though. So
yeah. Well, hey, you're talking to a guy that always thinks Calgary's beautiful, regardless of the weather. It's one of my favorite places, not my favorite place on the planet. Always great people, and of course, your cousin. One of the as I said, every city has these special people.
It's true.
And in Toronto, if I said, even though people in Canada would say this, like a Pinball Clemens, but I say the Italian version is your cousin Tony Spallettini, famous for Spalumbos now, but what he does for his community and what he has always done. He is one of the hardest working guys, and really does have the heart of an angel, that man. And so anytime I get a chance to see him, just what he has done with his family, he really is a gem. To be related to someone, that's a pretty good one.
He is a beautiful person, and I want to take this opportunity because I can't get her on the phone. His mother, Aurora Spallettini, known as Mama.
Yeah.
It was her birthday a few days ago, and she's my kumara. She's my godmother as well. To Aurora, happy birthday, because you do not have call waiting like many other Italian women, but you're on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it to you now on national radio.
What is it?
That's awesome.
A buon compleanno, I think.
Yes.
Is what you say. Yes, absolutely. That is amazing.
Tanti auguri. Yes.
Yes. There you go. I think call waiting in Italian is like, oh, take it easy. I'm talking here.
It's too distracting. You don't want your gossip sesh to be interrupted.
Yeah. Let's not take gossip away from the Italians, because then now what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about?
Talking with love. Yeah.
Well, that's why we do a lot of the segments that we do with Bell Lifestyle Products, for the people, about the people. And as I said, made right here in Mississauga, our good friends who join us all the time. And Joan, when you're able to talk about some of these products, and some of them, they're just topics that make people feel a little uncomfortable. Even if you're going through it yourself, you may not even confide in a friend about it. And when it comes to incontinence, that's certainly one of them. And can be embarrassing. It can be, and it's upsetting, right? Because if you're going through that and you really don't want to talk about it a whole bunch, now what do you do? What do you do when you go in public? What do you do when you go to bed? So what products do we want to talk about now? And I guess, if we'll start with for men, what are we talking about in terms of, I guess, prostate and those kinds of issues?
Right. So men and women, definitely, it's maybe some different physical manifestations, but very similar. Women might experience incontinence a little bit more often. So we've got Bladder 1, Bladder Control T in terms of Bell for that. And for men, benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, which is an enlargement of the prostate gland. And that can also restrict the flow of urine. Men often complain about getting up a bunch of times in the middle of the night, and definitely stuff none of us want to talk about. But again, removing the stigma can be very important. So probably the most serious kind of medical issue that can come as a result of this are kidney issues. So this is something that you want to take care of. Our kidneys and our urinary system control a lot of different functions in the body. So maintains homeostasis, a lot of bodily function, of course, eliminates waste, regulates our blood pressure. So the kidneys are really important to blood pressure, controls the pH of our blood. And our kidney also produces hormones. So it regulates our blood glucose levels, helps with red blood cell formation, and it actually activates vitamin D into its active form, D3. So, you know, we have to kind of look at the bigger picture. It's not just embarrassing with these symptoms. It can actually cause some pretty serious health issues. So it's pretty important to stay on top of it. If you're not comfortable, you know, you don't have to talk to your friends about this kind of thing, but you can talk to a health professional if it gets serious. One thing I want to mention, because I will mention urinary tract infections a little bit throughout this talk. And if a UTI gets really serious, it's really important to go to a walk-in clinic, see your doctor as soon as possible, and get antibiotics. So if you notice blood in the urine, if there's a lot of pain, you know, natural products are something you can use before and after. But some people want to treat that just with natural products. And I just want to make it clear, if it's serious, go to your doctor right away. And then you can use our products to help kind of solve the issue. So, you know, overactive bladder, getting up too often to pee for men, especially, painful urination. Our products, all of them, Bladder 1, Bladder Control T, 4A Prostate T, which contains, can you see my peonies here?
Yes, lovely.
Yeah, so peony is actually one of the ingredients in the prostate tea, which helps with, it's an antispasmodic, so it can help with like bladder spasms. Yeah, so all of those things, it reduces inflammation, irritation, helps pull bacteria out of the urinary tract, reduces painful and frequent urination. And what I love about our tea products, so the 4A prostate tea and the 4B bladder control tea, is they're teas, and they're loose leaf teas. So there's a bit of a process in brewing them, but what that really helps with is drinking a lot of water, which is very important. A bit counterintuitive, but that helps the flow better. It helps like break up the flow, which is why some people have incontinence and frequent urination.
And what I find interesting too is there are formulas for both men and women. So for example, if you're looking at the number 90 formula, Bladder 1 for women, and 4B, which is Bladder Control T for women, can you work those together as a combination solution, Joan, as far as preventative measures and help, as you mentioned? The two, do they work together?
You could use them together. They're typically used separately, but some people do find maybe the bladder control tea, because you have to drink it on a regular basis. Sometimes that can be a little bit hard to keep up with daily if it gets kind of acute. So you could alternate that with the Bladder 1. The bladder control tea is a water extraction, whereas the Bladder 1 is a bit more of a critical extraction. So in some ways it might be more powerful to take the Bladder 1 capsules, but it's really important to be drinking a lot of water with it. So, you know, you could alternate them, make sure you're drinking a lot of the tea, water, to make sure it gets through the bladder. That'll help it deliver it where it needs to go. Yeah, and then the prostate tea, again, excellent product. One of our most popular, which I find interesting because it's a loose leaf tea. And, you know, it takes a little bit of work to make it, but that's, I don't know, as a herbalist, that's like the beauty of our products.
Now, what about taste wise? Because a lot of people might be listening to this and saying, okay, well, this is good, but what is that taste?
The taste of both teas are really beautiful. And we also have a kidney tea as well, which can be taken if, you know, infections move up to the kidney. All of our teas taste really amazing. So they're formulated not just for efficacy, but for taste as well. Yeah, so the bladder tea actually has some lemon added, which is not in the capsule, to give it a bit more of a citrus taste.
And you could have it
Um,
cold too, right? You don't necessarily have to have this hot.
Yeah, so what a lot of people do is they brew the teas in bulk. Then you can just put them in a pitcher in the fridge.
Yep.
Once they're cold, I don't know if either of you've tried the teas, but once they're cold, they have a very mild taste. They're not intensely flavored teas. And they're almost naturally sweet as well. So you can just put it in the fridge and just drink it as you would water.
Yeah, I've brewed the prostate easy flow tea and left it in its separate container, having it in the morning, of course. And the thing I find too is when you brew the tea, you let it sit for a while, and then you cipher it in and so forth. But once it's in your container, it continues. You'll still have the ingredients in there, or some of them anyway, because they're so thinly made. It'll still continue to kind of soak out everything that you kind of want. So it's almost like eating a marinated steak, Mike, where you marinate a steak for an hour, it's going to taste okay. You marinate a steak for a day, and it's really going to give you some flavor. But this is more obviously a positive in the easy flow tea, Joan. Am I right on this? Am I doing it the right way?
Steak, prostate tea, yeah. You know what?
Now I want a steak. Can we have that? You got a steak in a bottle? Can I have that? Pills for steak?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely if you're having, a lot of protein, prostate tea is a good thing to alternate that with.
Yeah.
For sure, because that can contribute to some of the issues we're talking about today.
Well, just so people who have just heard the conversation, so it's as we know, Bell always comes with a number, so it's very easy to understand what you need. So we've also talked about number 90, that's bladder 1 for women. The 4B is bladder control tea for women, and the 4A prostate easy flow tea. Now, Dave, that's the one that you just talked about, right? That you have.
That's right.
Had the cold one. So those are the ones that we're talking about. And of course, as Joan has pointed out, some of the ingredients that are just so effective. And as always, we like to say, made right here in Mississauga. Products are all guaranteed and easy to find. You can even order them online, or when you see someone like Joan, you go into for your consultations, they know all these products because it's not just something they talk about. This is in practice that they use these things, and they're very, very good at what they do. So, Joan, thank you so much for joining us here today. Always appreciate the time. Great to hear from our Calgary folks. And you take care, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, you too. Thank you.
That is Joan Sarro joining us here this morning on behalf of Bell Lifestyle Products. Always does such a wonderful job. And again, it's one of those topics where you're like, okay, going from Fred Anderson to, well, and as you find that there are people listening here today who are probably going through this, who want to talk about Fred Anderson, whether he plays in goal or not. But this is your life. This is your health. This is probably slightly, or should be more important on whether it's Jack or Fred. So we're really glad that we were able to do that here this morning. Yeah.